So welcome to this mock test with Sara. Sara, tell us a little bit about your driving journey so far.
So I was with another instructor, didn't feel like I was getting anywhere, came over to Matt, and I feel like I've done great since being with you. I've learned a lot, my driving's a lot better than before.
Where did you find me? Where did you hear about us?
YouTube, watched you for a good few years.
And you only live quite local to myself as well.
Yeah.
And you've got your test booked?
This Friday at 9 o'clock.
Alright, and so we're like 1 week before at the time of recording, aren't we?
Yeah.
I'll see you again in the week. You've had private practice as well?
I have, yeah. Got my own car, so I go out most days in it.
So how many hours would you say, if you could tally them up, in your own car?
Goodness me, I've been driving it daily since about last June, and I've been to Manchester and back most weekends, so a fair amount.
So you've clocked up that experience?
Of course, yeah.
So how are you feeling about today's mock test?
I don't know. Hopefully it goes alright.
Have you done a mock test before?
No.
And do you know what to expect? I'm guessing you've watched plenty.
Yeah, I know what to expect, definitely.
Have you got any questions?
No, I don't think so.
So the way it goes during the mock test is I'll give you directions in good time. We're going to start the test using a sat-nav.
Okay.
I'll tell you when that phase finishes. I'm going to ask you to pull up a number of times. It's all part of the
course,
test.
yeah.
And if you're unsure, just ask me in plenty of time. I can help you with the directions, but I can't help you with what to do.
Okay, that's fine, yeah.
There'll be one manoeuvre and possibly an emergency stop too. If anybody's interested in taking a mock test with myself, absolutely free of charge here in Derby, then get in touch using the website www.gotodrivingschool.co.uk. All the requirements are is that you have a test booked and that you can prove that. So, shall we get into the mock test?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, let's do it. Before we get going, can I ask you a question, please? I just wanted to ask you how you would test that the brakes are working before starting a journey.
You'd move off slowly and test that they work.
Okay. Yeah, and how would you do that?
You just move the car forward a little bit and then brake, just to make sure that they actually work and you're not going to carry on.
Yeah, that's probably a good time to do it when you're first coming off the driveway or something.
Of course, yeah.
How would you know that the signs that the brakes aren't working correctly?
You usually get a light on your dash, don't you?
You could do, yeah. You could get out a warning light. The vehicle could pull to one side as well. So when you're ready, we'll get into test. I'll ask you the next question on the test.
Okay.
And that'll be to demonstrate something, okay?
Okay.
All right, so drive on when you're ready. Just a quick note about the foot cam. We did use a foot cam in this video and it kicks in at around 17 minutes. Thanks for your understanding. Thanks for watching.
Please take the first exit and drive to the left immediately. Now drive to the left.
During the test, the sat-nav's a little bit late. I will give the instruction, okay?
Okay, yeah.
Please drive to the right after 600 yards and continue to follow the A5111 towards Borough Wash. Now drive to the right. 600 yards, leave the roundabout at the second exit onto Acorn Way. Please take the second exit.
This is a driving fault. This was for stopping too close to the vehicle in front. The reason it's worth mentioning is because it's approaching the roundabout, slightly uphill, more risk. The candidate's eyes were off the road and therefore wouldn't have known if the vehicle in front was slightly rolling back and whether they were perhaps slightly rolling forwards.
After 700 yards, leave the roundabout at the third exit. Please take the third exit.
Could you pull up on the left for me, Sara, at a safe place, please? Thank you. And drive on when you're ready, please.
Okay.
Thank you. And drive on when you're ready, please.
Okay.
So what would you normally be doing on a Saturday afternoon then, Sarah?
Buying food.
Buying food? What kind of food?
Just doing the usual food shop.
Oh, I see, yeah. When safe, could you show me how you'd wash and wipe the rear window, please? Thank you very much. I won't ask you to
Please
do that
turn
again.
left after 450 yards onto Lime Lane.
Yeah.
Please make a U-turn if possible.
Okay, am I right to turn around here?
Yeah, so we need to turn around safely. So what I would say is do what you would usually do.
Okay.
Okay, this next fault that's coming up is a really tricky one to judge from my perspective. I haven't been trained on situational judgment and all the rest of the intensive training that the DVSA examiners go through. I can only base this off of my own experience. I've tried to look this up, can't really find any clarification. You see, she's reversed from a minor road to a major road, technically. I guess debate here, is this a major road that she's reversed into? She still needed to turn into the road correctly, not into the middle. She should have given a signal, because for all she knew, something could have been coming round the corner or actually coming from the road that she turned into. How likely is this? It was a very quiet, small street. The examiners are fair, guys. They are human. I've seen a lot worse than this done and still pass the driving test.
Now turn left. Please turn left after 150 yards and then turn left again onto Lime Lane. Now take the second left and then turn left again onto Lime Lane. Now turn left. Please turn right after 500 yards and turn left immediately onto Brookside Road. Now turn right and turn left immediately onto Brookside Road. Now turn left.
And could you just pull up on the left for me, please, just before the driveways? Thank you very much. Drive on when you're ready. Just before this BMW. Leave a car length between you and it, please. Just one car length between you and it. Thank you very much. Okay, and drive on when you're ready.
Please turn right after 350 yards onto Rectory Lane.
Turn left. That's the end of following the sat-nav. Apologies for that. Nothing like that will happen on the driving test, usually, because it's a predetermined route.
Yeah.
And it'll just finish when you get to where you need to go.
Okay.
You won't necessarily stop, you might keep driving. So that's the end of following the sat-nav, and I will give you directions from now on.
Okay.
Again, if you're unsure, just ask. Okay, the next one is going to be a driving fault, and this is because Sara was travelling at 34 in a 30, just coming up to the new speed limit, has not taken a look at the speedometer, technically breaking the law. It's not serious enough to be a serious fault. So if we go and look at the last fault, you can see how discretion is given, you know, at times. What does going too fast in an area that isn't suitable do? Well, going too fast means that increases your stopping distances. Even more so if it was raining, for example. If you braked hard, you're less likely to grip and you could skid. So just a driving fault on this occasion. first exit.
Okay.
At the next roundabout, go ahead first exit.
Oh dear. You know, if you get stuck in traffic on your test, does it mean that you won't have to do the whole course?
They might.
I hope not.
I mean, they could skip a road to claw some time back.
Oh, okay.
But you'll still should spend a minimum of sort of 38 to 40 minutes out on test, 35 to 40 then
Okay.
on test. I think if it were that busy, you'd have to do a retest. I think, you know, if you were standstill.
Yeah,
Not
and you weren't
tested,
going
you know.
anywhere. We're going straight.
Straight ahead, second exit. Yeah, if anybody watching has been on a driving test and been in severe traffic, let us know in the comments actually what happened. Fault 4 then, just a driving fault. The fault is mirrors, and is not checking the mirrors before we change speed. So the reason it's important that we check the mirrors before we change speed, as in slow down or speed up, is so that we know what's behind us, at the sides of us. Okay, another driving fault here, and this is again for the lack of space between Sara and the vehicle in front. This is a trait I see a lot with people who have done plenty of private practice. It's something that just sort of goes off the radar and isn't picked up. If you're too close to the vehicle in front, you're going to struggle to get round that vehicle should you need to. So just a driving fault on this occasion. Too fast on the slip road. Sara's breaking the speed limit, and we've got to cut Sara a little bit of slack here. This is usually a 70-mile-an-hour road. Traffic on the carriageway is probably going faster than the 40, which is a temporary speed limit in place while the roadworks are carried out. And so it may sometimes actually be necessary, in keeping with safety, to just slightly bring that speed up a little bit to get onto the carriageway safely, as not to slow anybody down. On this occasion, was it necessary is the question. Check your mirrors first, okay? Particularly the centre. The vehicle behind you is gaining, because it probably is if there's a temporary speed limit in place. Signposted the A5111. I will remind you, but just so you know how to plan and what to look out for.
Okay.
So we'll be taking the next exit, okay? A5111. Yeah, they put them up the other day, didn't they? This road is going to be a 50 eventually. Or a certain stretch of it will be.
That's mental.
Yeah, it's always been 70, hasn't it? Okay, so just take care as you come in. We're going to turn into the Blue Jay pub car park on our left. Just keep a lookout for any vehicles, any people in the car park as we come through. And we'll just follow this road round when safe, heading towards the back end of the car park. And if you could just bring us to a gentle stop here, thank you. So what I'd like you to do is to pull forwards into one of the bays on the left or right.
Okay.
Okay? Finished? Yeah.
I think so. Hopefully I'm in the line. I don't normally have a problem.
Thank you.
Am I in the line?
Yes. Okay, so when safe, I'd like you to reverse out of the bay and head towards the exit. Take extreme care as cars may be pulling in.
Yeah.
Another tricky one, this fault, it's a driving fault. Before reversing, the ideal scenario is that you've looked all around before you start moving the vehicle. Now, the test is looking for a minimum standard. There is discretion given. Sara does demonstrate here that she does understand, though she's a little bit late. The vehicle's already moving. For that reason, I've known this to be a driving fault. Don't get me wrong, this could be different on a different day, but for me, on this occasion, with the drive I've seen, I think it's fair for this to be a driving fault. Turn right at the end of the road. Again, we've got another driving fault here. This could be different on a different day. The fault is being slightly over the give way line. Now, the road that leads out from this pub car park is quite a narrow road. So if your bonnet's hanging over the give way lines, the vehicle that is oncoming and the lane nearest to you is going to have to slightly cross the middle centre line of the road. This could affect traffic coming from the other side. As you're approaching the give way line at a T-junction, if the junction continues to be closed, as in you can't see much to judge and make a good decision, you should continue slowing and reducing your speed gradually and looking out for a reference point. What this is you'll see the white paint underneath the right door mirror, and it'll just look like the mirror's perched on top of the paint. What this means is that you're at the giveaway lines and this is where you should stop, okay? If we edge out at a snail's pace, if we see an oncoming vehicle come, we just stop straight away. And this is the safest way to do it and the way you'd be expected to carry it out. At the roundabout, turn left, first exit. When safe, change lane to one to the right, please. this middle lane.
Okay.
Okay. So see, it says test on the floor. So turning right, second exit. And then to finish our test, we're just going to pull into the lay-by on the left there, okay? Finished?
Yeah, okay.
How do you feel it went?
I've noticed a couple of mistakes. I don't know whether you've marked them down.
Yeah,
but
so-
I knew.
Alright, let's go through the debrief now then. So I'll tell you how you did.
Okay.
Now, I've tried to mark that as close as to what I think the actual test would be, and I've seen them use a lot of understanding and reason with things. I'm not an examiner, but I can give you a rough idea as to how it would go. As I say, I think reversing from side road into the more major spine of that road is
Yeah.
bordering on reversing from a minor to major.
Because it was a corner. But I didn't want to pull on someone's drive like into that little cul-de-sac bit.
Do you know what? Was the road wide enough to do a turn in the road, in your opinion? I think you'd have done probably a 7-point turn or something if you tried to do it there. What we used to teach, and still do to an extent, but it's not at the forefront of what I'm doing on a weekly basis, is the reverse into a side road.
Yes, I've seen that before.
And that's a method of turning the car round when the road isn't wide enough to do a turn in the road realistically. And really that's what you should have done, because that then removes the element of reversing from minor to major, it's major to minor, whatever road you're in. Really then what I've marked for that is the fact we've just swung into the junction, no signal, we've cut over the middle line. Yes, we could see, but we've still, what system should we be using to turn into that junction?
Oh, is it PO?
MSPSL.
So it's mirrors, signal, place?
Kind of. You need to be in a certain place when you position. Mirror signal position.
And is it lock?
Speed.
Oh, speed.
Would give you time to look, time to judge.
Of course.
You probably meant to cut the corner on that, but you've still got to keep it professional like, really. I don't really know what to mark there, and I've seen people go the wrong way. I've been sat in the back before, and the examiners actually give them a little bit more help than what I did with you.
Oh, okay.
A little bit more. They've told them where to reverse and what to do. So I've got to cut you a bit of slack there, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
Just a little bit.
But have you learnt something from it? So if it happened again, you know what you'd do differently, or the options that you might have.
Turn in the road or find somewhere safer.
Do a left reverse is best. First roundabout that we come up to the vehicle in front, it's a van. You're on an incline. You've took your eyes off the road, off forwards, but you're really close to the van in front.
Oh.
It's on an incline. It's at the roundabout. It's a really dangerous place to do it actually, because if you move forward at all and you are still looking right, you're very close. He could be rolling back at the same time. We've got a fix for that. A little reference that we can use. It's called tyres and tarmac.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah, okay.
Do you know how it works?
You should be far enough back from the car in front that you can see the tarmac and their tyres, if I'm correct.
Their tyres and the tarmac that their tyres are sitting on. One for changing speed. I felt that we slowed down, you didn't check. Generally you are, but I think you could be a bit earlier with your check.
Okay, yep.
So sometimes I feel like it might be like we're already been slowing down a bit, and then you'll go mirrors and follow with a signal.
Right.
Start with your mirrors early. You do sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a bit selective with it.
Yeah, and I think it's that hazard routine that you need to bring in more.
Yeah.
When you're driving, you need to just, as soon as you see anything that's going to affect you, mirrors.
Yeah,
straight
definitely.
away. So one there for changing speed, one that I was more definite about. Progress appropriate speed. Did a little bit quick a couple of times going over the limit.
I think it was 1 on the E52.
Yeah, how fast?
Was I 47?
47.
And then I realised, I was like, oh no, it's 40 and this camera's down here now. So I did drop that as soon as I saw, but yeah, it shouldn't get to that point.
No. What do you think took your distraction so you can learn from it and not do it in future?
I think I was too busy looking.
Because you was on a
Little slip road.
the slip road. Whilst we're judging on the slip road, what else should we be looking at or
Paying
glancing
attention to the front and then glancing to the back, and obviously making sure that my speed's correct.
in between those checks, I would
Yeah.
say. Yeah. Every squeeze on the accelerator, let's have a look what it's done.
Yeah, definitely.
Every ease off, let's have a look what it's done. So yeah, and 34 coming out of Bredsall Village, just after we'd finished following the sat-nav.
Yeah, I remember.
So yeah, just a little bit more discipline with that.
Definitely.
Probably a few more checks. Quite iffy for me, this one.
Okay.
When we did the forwards park, you was inside the lines. It was reasonable. It looked a bit crooked, didn't it? When you look forward, it looked a bit like it was to the left.
It did, yeah.
But it was quite parallel on the left, you'll be pleased to know. But when you reversed out, you didn't look backwards till quite late.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't tend to do.
And then when you stopped reversing, you didn't really check around before you started going forwards.
Okay.
Now, you just had a rear obs, which is left shoulder.
Mhm.
You did look there in the end.
Yeah.
You did check, but of sorts, not very up to date and not very structured. I think you might get the benefit of the doubt there because you did look backwards, and the rest of everything that you've done is a reasonable level of control. So I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and give you a pass for that.
Oh, okay.
And just mark you for observation on your forward park. So altogether, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faults. It is a pass.
Thank goodness.
But the main thing to take is what you can learn from this.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
One side note for you is just I feel sometimes we're coasting coming up to junctions. Not that it's losing masses of control, because you're quite good with your foot brake.
Yeah.
Because of all your experience.
I think we brought that up before, haven't we?
Yeah.
I tend to chuck it out quite far back, and I don't know why.
And sometimes you'll put it into neutral when you're not sure. And I think really, if you're not sure, it's because you've not got to the point where you should know yet. You've got to slow down to look, to judge. And then you can select the correct gear, can't you? 'Cause you don't know until you've judged often. Keep the clutch up.
Yeah, definitely.
And just go straight into the gear that you know you're going to use, which is probably going to be first.
Yeah,
if it's an emerge.
Yeah.
That's it really. You can take this away with you. So this will be going up on the channel. Let us know in the comments if you found this video useful, and if you've got any ideas for future mock tests and ways that we can improve things going forwards. If you've got a practical test book, consider taking a mock test with myself for the channel. That's free. All you need to do is prove that you've got a test booked. If you like the video, consider subscribing and give us a like. Thanks, Sara. Really appreciate your time and appearing and doing this for the channel. I wish you all the best on Friday, isn't it, the test?
Yeah, Friday.
Would you like to maybe let us know how you got on and what the score was on the test and stuff?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Sara went on and passed a driving test just a couple of days later with just 4 driving faults. You can see here the faults that she did pick up. It's also worth noting that Sara did the test in her own car. You don't have to use a car that has dual controls fitted. Sara sent me an email with a write-up of the day, and it goes as follows. I was really nervous and wasn't sure what to expect with this being my first test. When I got to the centre, the staff were lovely and really helpful, and my examiner was great. I think I expected them to be tough and mean, but in fact, they were nothing but helpful. First of all, I got told to open my bonnet, which I was completely unprepared for, and got asked to identify the oil, which I fluked, and I got it right, which was great. It's worth mentioning as well here that mine and Sara's lessons were very staggered for one reason or another, and her final lesson was cancelled. I then got told to follow the sat-nav for around 20 minutes, and this made me feel a little nervous, since like I explained to yourself, I don't follow sat-navs well. But the instructor actually guided me, even with the sat-nav, which was weird. I did ask her why they do the sat-nav part when she told me where to go anyway, and she just explained she likes to help people. My faults were my own silly mistakes, which I would put down to nerves. I went up the hill at the speed limit, but there was a van on the corner and I should have slowed down, but I left it till pretty last minute to slow my car down and check around the corner. Another fault is that I didn't do any checks once my emergency stop was complete. I just carried on driving. I think I felt more comfortable in my test because I'd done the mock test with yourself, so I knew what sort of thing to expect, which made me feel a lot more confident on the day. I had somebody sit in the back of my car also. It was just so I felt more comfortable, and the examiner was fine with this. My advice is always do a mock test with an instructor, because I don't think I would have passed my test with as little fault as I did without doing a mock. Kind regards, Sara. Go-to driving school have got to be the absolute best in Derby. The time and effort Matt has put into my lessons have been outstanding. He has been extremely flexible regarding my needs and always fitting me in. He has helped me become a better driver, and I feel extremely confident and safe on the roads. Matt is an incredible instructor who doesn't rush and let things slide. Matt helps you work on your issues and is extremely patient. I passed today with just 4 faults, which is great. I found Matt on YouTube years ago and have watched his videos for a while, and I feel honoured to have been tutored by himself. Can't thank you enough. Also, can't recommend Go-To enough. See you soon, guys. See you in the next one.